Hello users, and welcome back to Above It All, y'all. So this is another CHAZ video. Again, I just want to do my best on kind of dispelling any misinformation I find on my YouTube channel. If there's even one person who got duped by all the photoshops and the fucking warlords and the fucking terrorist cell, and anybody who got duped by that, if just one person understands how fake it is, my job is done. I don't care. It doesn't have to be 10,000. All I care about is the individual. That's right. I'm an individualist. But I've got a little thread here from Robert Evans, whom I am not very familiar with, but very slightly familiar with, who appears to have gone here. And, I just wanted to share this with you. I think it's a good source. This was yesterday. So this is yesterday as of this upload. Debate continues to rage within the CHAZ, or whatever, about what to do with the cops. Earlier today, a squadron of bike cops rolled through the barricades to re-enter the precinct. The barricades are being reinforced, but without any dedicated plan of action. That may not matter. Yeah, that's the thing about CHAZ. Again, there's a lot of misinformation out there as far as like leadership. 4chan seems to think I'm the leader of this, even though I'm 3,000 miles away. There is no leadership. This is an autonomous zone, meaning there is no leader. It's not a country. It's not an organization of, like a neoliberal kind of organization. This is everybody is equal to everybody else. And therefore, there's a lot of confusion with that, and that's okay. Confusion is okay. Talking about things, having everybody have their input, that's fine. Okay, that's great. And everyone's trying their best to do what they can. And that's the message here. It's about solidarity. Google it if you don't know what that means. Folks are continuing to try to develop a more organized system of affinity groups. Supply dispersal and gathering, including food, is quite good. But security on the barricades is minimal and questionably effective. A little bit of a typo. The night watch last night seemed decent, though. Again, one of the things that's super interesting here is a lot of the misinformation out there by 4chan and fucking Andy No and fucking Michael Tracy and shit is that there are like roving gangs of warlords terrorizing everyone. But in reality, security is actually, at least according to a lot of the things that I see, their weakest aspect, right? There are very little people there that are armed and threatening to kill people. Armed at least. And there's almost, if not, I haven't seen any actual evidence of anybody threatening to kill anybody hurting I haven't seen any actual evidence of that. And if somebody wants to link me something, there's a lot going on. I may have missed it. I'm totally open. If you want to link me actual evidence, I'm not talking about a Photoshop. I'm not talking about a fucking screen grab from someone's Twitter account. I'm talking about an actual video or some sort of official report, okay? But yeah, it's just interesting. Folks have started filling the plastic barricades with water to make them harder to move. So that is a development. Again, that's what's interesting about. I like this thread because it gives kind of like a live look of what's going on as of yesterday. But you can kind of tell from reading this just how things work, and probably very similar today. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty smart. What we have here in the CHAZ is basically a very large block party with a lot of free food and art projects, and perhaps the potential to be the nexus of real resistance to the police if enough folks commit. It is at least a nice place for a picnic. And that's, again, the thing about this that is so amazing. Now, again, I've been to many, many protests. Most of the protests that I've been to have two main areas. One, the cop/neo-Nazi, because usually they're counter-protesting neo-Nazis in a lot of these instances. Cop/neo-Nazi kind of like shouting match and like on the line in front of the protest. That's usually, the main thing. However, 9 times out of 10, and I think on every protest I've really ever been to, behind that is usually a block party where people are like, oh, we're all here protesting the same thing? Okay, well, let's just meet new friends. I remember going to a protest in DC where I filmed and documented the right-wing side, you know, and they were just like singing songs and doing like the Pledge of Allegiance, and it was super, like singing like America, like fucking anthems, and it was really cringy. No one knew the words, like no one was singing along, and they were doing like the Pledge of Allegiance and shit, and they were talking about how everyone on the other side hates them. And then I go to the other side, right, because I wanted to document both sides for my YouTube channel. So I go to the other side, and then everyone's like, obviously there's people like, you know, protesting with the signs, but then behind that, right, there's like a group of people dancing, right, like a band playing, and I start smoking weed with like some people, and it's just, that's what these are. This is like 99% people having fun, and it's a block party, 1% whatever the fuck y'all are fucking talking about. And it's one of those things that a lot of people don't understand, because a lot of people following this and commenting on my videos especially are losers. They don't go to protests. They don't know what they're talking about. They just sit on their sofa and watch Fox News all day and browse 4chan because they're fucking dumb. Like, they're losers. Like, again, if you disagree with the Seattle's Autonomous Zone, also known as CHAZ, if you disagree, chances are 99, maybe 98% of the time, you're just a fucking loser. Like, you're an antisocial freak. And that's okay. There's nothing necessarily wrong with being antisocial. I'm not necessarily the most social person. But, like, you have to at least recognize that you just hate everybody. And, like, instead of hating people and trying to make their lives worse, just go do your own thing. Read a book. Like, work on a book. You know? Write a blog. Maybe, like, watch a movie or two. You know? Make a YouTube channel. You know? Play a video game. Like, do something that's not punching down and making other people as miserable as you are. But, you know, that never really works. So yeah, incredible to contrast how the right-wing media has portrayed this place as compared to the reality, in which everyone just sort of spontaneously respects the caution tape around the in-progress street art. Again, do you see any warlords? Like, you know, it's just like, do you see any disrespect here? Do you see any, you know, people like trying to like, oh, I'm trolling. No, because that only happens on the internet. And I know people that are right wing, they don't, like, again, they're antisocial. They don't leave their houses. And so they don't realize that this is what normal people do. This is, like, normal people are very generally respectful. Normal people are relatively social. Normal people, especially when they agree on something, like to help each other. Like, this is just what normal people do. I can say the number of people here and the chillness of the party definitely makes for a pickle for the police. Kicking all of this out would be a pretty bad optics move right now. Again, that's why they're not doing it. I'm sorry all the fascists in my comment section wanting them to drop a bomb on Seattle. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. You're a freak show. Again, you're just antisocial. I suggest making a friend, preferably one that is not white. Or at least, you know, if they have to be white, have a gay friend, have a trans friend, you know, like have even just a leftist friend, like have friends that have opposing viewpoints. Like, that's normal. That's what normal people do. They have friends with opposing viewpoints, and then they debate every now and then, right? Like, that's the thing. That's what normal people do. But, you know, anyway, there are a lot of strategically placed shields all over the place, and about 1 in every 5 or so folks here are prepared to get back to fighting with the police if they need to. Again, any equipment, like, you have little pieces of wood. People use umbrellas. They're super useful. It's always important, if you're in a position or a situation where shit might go down, to be prepared. I always bring a backpack with everything I would ever need. You know, first aid, water, snacks like protein bars and that kind of stuff. I always try to come as prepared as possible. Like medication, you know, extra medication in case I get arrested or in case I get stuck somewhere. I'll have like 3 days of medication with me. You know, like that kind of stuff. It's really, really important to be prepared. I'm not going to watch the interview. I'm sorry. The cops appear to have left again, and the police station is again fully fenced off. I'm heading back to Oregon in a few days, blah, blah, blah. You know, definitely follow this guy if you want to have their on-the-ground experience follow-up. I think that's something super important. I'll just look at this photo while I continue talking about the video. Again, CHAZ is working out just fine. Like, if you think that this falling apart and it's on fire and there's warlords raping everybody, chances are you're just a fucking moron. Like, again, if you see anything that maybe I'm not finding, and I'm actively looking for a lot of this stuff, but if you see any evidence of violence going on within the Seattle's Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, send it to me. Like, I'm talking about, like, again, actual evidence, not a photoshopped tweet that you found on 4chan. Like, come on. We're in the real world here. Like, I get it. You wake up, live, sleep, and breathe 4chan, and you have no friends. Like, I understand that. But come on, man. We're in the real world. Anyway, so watch some of these other videos if you want more CHAZ updates, want more news. If you have any threads or whatever you want to link to me like this, let me know. I'll make more videos. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, I don't really care. And if you did, awesome. Thank you.